Sprint legend Usain Bolt is among scores of victims of a massive fraud at one of Jamaica's oldest investment companies, Stocks and Securities Limited, SSL. Bolt invested about $10 million with the company in 2012 and did not make any drawdowns. Acting on the advice of an ex-employee, Bolt, along with his legal team, recently reviewed the account. They found that the $12.7 million that was reflected on the account as at October 31 last year had been depleted to just $12,000 by early this month. An employee at the company, Jean Ann Panton, submitted a sworn statement to the police in which she confessed to perpetrating fraud against 39 customers at SSL. Now, the statement, dated January 7, 2023, lists the names of those fleeced and the amounts taken from their accounts. However, Bolt's name is conspicuous by its absence from the list. On Tuesday, the law firm representing the 36-year-old wrote to SSL demanding restitution. A part of their missive said, quote, "For your part, we are demanding that you pay over to our client the said sum of United States $12,758,181.74 standing to his account on the 31st day of October 2022 as issued to him by you. We are demanding that this be done within the next 10 days, failing which we will take all legal action against you and your directors, which action will include civil and criminal procedures." Now, a lot of tongues, Mariah, were set wagging by the fact that Jean Ann Panton's statement, which was endorsed by a justice of the peace as to its authenticity, which she gave to the police in a debriefing session in the presence of her attorney, Tamika Harris, that people started talking when that statement was examined and found to make no mention of Mr. Bolt. What we are hearing is that Panton, a family friend of the Bolts, was actually the one who alerted Usain Bolt to the fact that his account had been compromised. So what she effectively told the police, and she said it by not saying it, was that where Bolt's money is concerned, it wasn't me.
Yeah. So one, the timing of Panton's statement. So basically she came out when the situation got out of hand because, of course, Usain Bolt, unlike these other people, and you mentioned the footballer, that a situation would have happened. And, of course, it didn't reach the level of the media that, of course, a Usain Bolt situation would reach. And the authorities, like we didn't hear from the finance minister, Nigel Clark. Maybe he didn't even know that this footballer was, defrauded of his money and whatnot. I think she recognized how serious the situation has become. And, of course, she's just getting it out of the way that, yes, I would have defrauded people, but I have nothing to do with Usain Bolt, as to clear her name and to ensure that, the punishment is going to be a tough punishment for her. And if, just having your name out there in such a manner is not a bad punishment as it is already, I just felt as if she just wanted to say, I have no part with this, so you need to check somebody else.
Well, here's the thing, and I know my people I know in the constabulary force who are working the case have laid the tiles out on the floor and they have the pieces together. I understand that the statements that they were hoping to collect, that they have a lot of statements in hand and that they are building up the case to a satisfactory level where they can make a next significant step. What is true is that the fact of the statement from Panton, from Miss Panton, and Mr. Producer, may you indulge me? If you could give us that graphic again, for us to look at the names that she's listed. She's taken the liberty to name names and to put the Jamaican dollar equivalent that they were fleeced of and the US dollar equivalent. And if you see those names there, those names are, there's a name, look at that name, Kenneth Chai, $62,000 yeah? Second from bottom, Christopher Ramdon, $100,000. Now, the fact is that there's a name there, Mr. Producer, may I ask you again, Norman Peart, the name that's below the Kenneth Chai, Norman Peart, $35,000. You see that one? Yes. Towards the bottom? That we understand is Bolt's former agent of about 2 decades, about 20 years. They had a business relationship. He was Bolt's business manager, for want of a better expression. And they And my producer is reminding me that he still has many world-class athletes in his stable, even though he knows that there's only one Usain Bolt. But that relationship fractured in December last year, and he left Bolt's employ. So here's where I'm going with this. I'm saying the fact that Miss Panton did not name Bolt in this statement as being one of her victims could be, Mariah, that she's saving that as her trump card. Because with all of what she's done, defrauding 39 customers, clearly the book will be thrown at her by the court when she moves through, the process goes through the investigation, she's charged, and she goes to court. To say, or even before it gets there, to say, to plead, to say, look, I didn't rob Bolt, but I know who did. So, if you're going to give me 24 months, or 24, if you're going to give me 12 years, 15 years for this fraud, maybe you want to know about who defrauded the legend so badly that you will want to give me a significant discount if I tell you who did it and if I tell you how they did it. And the reason I put in how they did it in it is because in her statement, she detailed how she robbed the individual clients. So she knows the process more than you know the back of your hand, because I don't think you spend a lot of time looking at the back of your hand. Only when you're lotioning, right? Or you're washing your hands. There you go. But the point I'm making is this, Mariah, and tell me if you think I'm onto something here. She is holding that information sacrosanct for the moment. And the moment that they move to the point where charges will be laid, her attorney will say, well, gentle people, I'm sure you all want to know how Mr. Bolt's money went. My client didn't take it, but she knows who did and she knows how they did. Are you willing to negotiate with us? That's my theory.
George, theory or not, I just find, this entire situation extremely messy. And, the statement that we saw from the finance minister, Dr. Nigel Clark, and it's very important that these people come out and, give out...
We're going to hear from him later on in the segment.
Yeah, give out these press releases and stuff. It just makes the entire situation even messier than it already is. And I feel as if there's really no way out for her.
Yeah, the thing is this, well, you say no way out and you are correct. There's no way for her to escape the music.
Yeah.
But the music may be less. There may be less music played by virtue if she can turn over the person who did the dirty on Bolt. The other thing to consider is that last week, Thursday, I got a call. I got a voice note last night. Very late. You know that I shut down after 9. Yeah, I got it.
So what
very
happened?
late.
You were up?
No, the phone woke me up. The alerts woke me up.
Yeah.
And I checked, and it was a very good friend who we were work colleagues once when I had just come into the business. And she told the story of her life savings being in there. She told me...
At the same company?
Yes, she told me that, George, when I heard... She said red flags went up when they kept changing her agent. She said she got about 3 different agents in the space of about 2 months. And she's saying, no, something is wrong. And then she checked on her money and said, oh, can I access the funds? No, you can't. She said, no. So she ran down there. She said, when she went down there last week, Thursday, she says she encountered some rich-looking people, to use the phrase she used. And she made attempts to get her money, couldn't get it. She is distraught. She is broken. She says she and her husband and her family have sat and spoken, and they don't know what their next move is because she said, George, I deprived myself of a lot of things to build up my nest egg. Every blade of grass in that nest where the egg is in Stocks and Securities. And all of it is gone.
Yeah, that's her life savings. I just, I want to ask you this, and maybe you might be able to explain also to our viewers who, a lot of them are still confused about this situation. Is it that if there's an online platform for SSL, because I have never invested with them, I have no clue, is it that you would see your correct balance, but it's just that the money was not there? So no. You'd get your statements.
So based on what she said in the thing, some people encountered that, where the figure represented was not the actual figure. Or even so, not even the actual figure. The figure represented did not match what it is that they could access. So there's a piece of paper telling you that they have $10. But when you say, okay, can I take the $10? No, because there's only $3 there. Or something like that. And to a large extent, the fact of the matter is that people who called to seek about their money were not given audience. They couldn't get through to any agent. They couldn't get anybody to tell them what was happening. And in that vein, people got concerned, and when they went to the financial institute, the investment company, there was no money to be got. There are so many things I've been told by so many people on different sides, and you have to be sifting through. There are a group of people that I trust the credibility of their information very well. But at a point when charges are laid, that's a point I can say more. But for now, I'll exercise discretion in only saying what I've said. But there's more for us to say on this segment after this break, because you're going to hear for some big wigs reacting to the fraud that has been visited upon House Usain Bolt.
Stay with SportsMax on YouTube and follow us on all social pages for updates, news and entertainment.